Freedom feels like the opposite of discipline. When we think of freedom, we picture doing whatever we want, whenever we want. Discipline brings to mind rigid schedules, rules, and constraints. Yet this thinking creates one of life's great paradoxes. Structure actually gives you more freedom, not less. I discovered this truth during my most chaotic work period. My days had no boundaries. I checked emails at midnight, took calls during dinner, and worked on weekends. Without structure, work invaded every space of my life. The more freedom I had in my schedule, the less free I actually felt. Many of us fall into this trap. We resist creating systems and routines because they feel confining. We want the excitement of spontaneity and the romance of inspiration striking at random moments. The problem? Without boundaries, everything bleeds together. Cal Newport calls this digital minimalism in his book Deep Work. When work has no container, it expands to fill all available space. Your attention fragments. Your mind never fully rests. You exist in a perpetual state of half working, half living. Think about successful people you admire. Behind their achievements usually stands a framework of habits and systems. Ernest Hemingway wrote 500 words each morning. Maya Angelou rented hotel rooms to work in from 7 a.m. to 2 p.m. Jerry Seinfeld used a calendar system he called "Don't Break the Chain" to write jokes daily. These weren't just productive people. They were disciplined people who created specific containers for their work. Their structure didn't limit their creativity, it amplified it. The ancient Stoics understood this principle. Seneca wrote that, "The wise person will live as long as they ought, not as long as they can." He recognized that constraints create meaning. Without boundaries, life becomes formless and chaotic. Your brain craves certainty. When you create structure, your mind relaxes. It knows when work begins and ends. It understands which hours belong to focus and which belong to rest. This clarity reduces decision fatigue and mental load. Consider my friend Mark, who worked remotely as a programmer. His workday had no fixed schedule, so he could code whenever inspiration struck. This sounded ideal until anxiety about work followed him everywhere. Should he be working now? Was he doing enough? The questions never stopped. Everything changed when Mark imposed structure. He designated 9 and 5 p.m. as work hours with specific blocks for deep focus. He disabled notifications outside these hours. Within weeks, his productivity increased while working fewer total hours. The structure freed him. This principle extends beyond work. People who maintain exercise routines don't constantly debate whether they should work out. They've eliminated the decision by creating a system. The routine itself becomes liberating. James Clear explains this phenomenon in Atomic Habits. When behaviors become automatic through consistent systems, you free mental resources for more important decisions. The disciplined person paradoxically has more freedom of thought because fewer decisions occupy their attention. Think about children. They thrive with predictable routines and clear boundaries. Without structure, they become anxious and overwhelmed by unlimited possibilities. Adults aren't so different. Many resist structure because it requires initial discomfort. Discipline demands saying no to immediate desires for long-term benefits. Our brains evolved to seek immediate rewards. Delayed gratification requires overriding biological programming. The philosopher Aristotle taught that freedom isn't the absence of constraints but the presence of the right constraints. True freedom comes from developing habits that align with your deeper values. Start small. Create one bounded container in your day, perhaps a morning routine or a specific work block with no distractions. Notice how this structure affects your focus and peace of mind. Set clear boundaries between work and personal life. Define when your workday starts and ends. Create physical separation when possible. Even in a small apartment, designate specific areas for specific activities. Remember that discipline isn't about perfection. Flexible structure works better than rigid rules. The goal isn't control but clarity, knowing what matters most and creating space for it. Next time you resist structure, remember, chains sometimes set you free. The right constraints don't limit your potential, they concentrate it. Like riverbanks channeling water into a powerful current, good systems direct your energy toward what matters most. The discipline paradox reveals a deeper truth about human nature. We find freedom not in unlimited choices but in meaningful limitations. The most liberated people aren't those with no constraints, but those who've chosen their constraints wisely.